Weird photos afoot in the slain CEO case that we'll look at today. I went back and pulled them up directly from the New York PD news account, which of course is a grayed out account, which means it's official. And so what this is a new photo, but we saw other posts from these fellas, which seem like they're different. And remember, this was one of the original posts that we saw, 9:56, December 4th, 2024. This is what they shared with us immediately after this happened. They said, these are the images of the individuals sought in connection to this investigation. If anyone has any information to identify the location of this person, please let us know. So it came directly from them in response to their press briefing, said, this is what we've got. They came out, they talked to us all, and then they posted this photo. Now this photo, you'll notice, we see the rear of this person and we see the backpack, and the backpack looks like it's a white or a gray. It's a light color. And we see a little bit over the right shoulder of the assailant. And it looks like when that comes down over the front of his shoulder, it's probably going to continue to be white, not like a black backpack. Now, the other thing that we're looking at is the color of the jacket. We're looking at the color of the pockets on the front of the jacket. We're looking at the style of the hoodie. There's a lot of stuff going on. We don't even see the face here, but this looks like a white backpack. Now you might say maybe the camera colors are inverted, or it's the light that's being shown down upon him from the roof. But the rest of the colors look like they match. It's a black vehicle. Sidewalk looks gray. The sidewalk looks gray, like the backpack looks gray or light. So things match, unless it's like a black tar sidewalk. Why would that be a different shade? Anyways, it looks like it's a lighter color backpack. All right. So we also see this photo. Same thing happening here. He's now racing away. We see the shoes look a little bit whiter from the shoes, but that at the bottom there, that matches. The backpack looks largely the same. It looks blocky at the bottom. Don't know exactly what he's carrying in there. But again, the white-ish backpack, it's a different photo. And the black color, the hue of the assailant fleeing is black, and the jacket looks white again. Now you might say maybe that contrast, because this looks like it's probably closer to a tar street where this would be sidewalk. That looks a little bit darker. And if you're going to look at those individual pixels, it's highly pixelated. That color matches more of the jacket color. Whereas this, I mean, like this sidewalk here is almost blending right into the back of the backpack. That right there, like the colors are almost identical. Whereas this jacket is a little bit closer. This is grayed out a bit. It's highly pixelated, but the actual black pixels that you see in there match more of the color. So we're looking at the colors. That was posted on 9:56 in the morning, December 4th, 9:56. Now then we get additional posts. Then we fast forward. 6, December 4th, we go forward, 12:47. And they release these photos. These photos are also interesting. This looks like these photos. Right? This looks like this guy. So here we see the lighter color strap coming over, which matches what looks like to be the lighter color backpack on the rear. The hoodie looks like it's the same style. And on this photo, we do not see any, as far as I can tell, front jacket pockets. It's a pretty detailed photo. You can see some of the creases on the face mask. You can see some of the details on the face, right? You can make out the eyelids where those would close, make out the crevices of the nose. I think you'd be able to see the photo of a pocket if it were right there, at least on his right breastplate. That might be something right there on his left, but we don't see any photos or don't see any pockets from this photo. Now, they gave us another photo on this one. Here's another angle on it. You see this person. Again, doesn't look like there are pockets there. Might be, is that a button? Is that a logo? What is that? Don't know if that was there. Yeah, there it was. So that's a zipper probably. Something like analogous to this. But it looks like this. There's no pockets here. A zipper maybe all the way down at the bottom. So that's hanging down at the bottom. And maybe this little white block or group there of pixels is the rope with the little plastic thing at the end. So here you see over here, maybe it's that same thing. That again is the zipper. I don't see any pockets at all. I see a white backpack in a black pullover with a mask on his face. Now here's one final photo from a different angle. Again, don't see any pockets on that one. So I don't see any pockets at all. Backpack looks white. That looks like the shooter's backpack. And you can see there's a little bit of a black stripe right on the gray portion of the backpack, whatever that is, loop. We know those are the photos. They posted those the day of December 4th, 1247. Then they came out and they posted this one. This one is at 9:20 the following day. So 24 hours after the original photos were posted, they post these. Huh? They say, update, below are photos of a person of interest. So maybe it's a different person. Question regarding a Midtown Manhattan homicide. This does not appear to be a random act of violence. All indications are that it was a premeditated targeted attack. So is this a second shooter? Because it's not the same person, obviously. The full investigative efforts of the NYPD are continuing, and we are asking for the public's help. If you have any information about this case, call Crime Stoppers. There's a reward, 10 grand for this information leading to an arrest and conviction. So that's definitely not the same, right? Because you see, this is one set, like that's one jacket that clearly has pockets on it. This one clearly does not. That looks like the shooter to me. So who is this person? Now, it's similar. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely similar. But is that even the same person as this person? The nose looks a lot more angular. Maybe if you smile, your face changes. But are there 2 or 3 people potentially involved? All dressed up the same? Very strange. So they released those. It's again from the NYPD News. They're still trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. There's a story about this person apparently flirting, which is why they pulled the mask down. You got to imagine if you're a professional, you're not pulling your mask down unless you want people to see your face. If you're walking around with masks on, it seems a little bit interesting that they're dropping that down. Anyways, so there's some reporting on this. Fox News says they have this person who went to a hostel before the slaying occurred. The suspect used a fake ID to check into a New York City hostel before the elimination of the CEO. Sources say the suspect used a fake ID paid in cash. Fox News digital cameras captured officers leaving the AYH hostel on Manhattan's Upper West Side. Unclear if it's directly connected to the search for the killer. The New York PD has been hunting for him since Wednesday morning. Police told Fox News the suspect dropped a burner phone in an alley after the shooting. Police are looking into data that was on the phone as well as fingerprints that were left on the device. Police are also looking into a water bottle that was purchased at a Starbucks near the scene. Police sources say the DNA from the bottle is being used to build a suspect profile. Suspect, again, paid in cash at Starbucks. So they released this photo, which is clearly a different jacket and person. Thompson was savagely gunned down. As we saw, the shooter had been in New York City for about 10 days before he gunned him down. Paul Morrow, a contributor, said the type of the weapon used could be to the police's advantage because it's obscure. Firearms expert, former DEA instructor, agreed suspect not a professional, but may have had been using a rare pistol. Could have been a bolt action. Also could have been a jammed weapon. Now there's more. Trying to identify the motive. United Healthcare investigators, they're starting small. They're focusing on family. They're trying to search for motive. We saw that people like Taylor Lorenz were celebrating the gunning down of a man walking down the street because they don't like human or humanity. But here's more. They say after he was murdered, it was an ambush that we caught. Among the clues are a cell phone, a water bottle, and then the words that were on there: deny, depose, defend. Used a fake ID, paid for a room in cash. They got DNA that they're looking into. Several law enforcement officials said that they're confident he's going to be caught. Law enforcement is obviously in a reactive state about this, but the public should take confidence in this one. The NYPD is some of the most high-skilled investigators, some of the best technology in the world. They have the manpower to dedicate to this. You can bet we've got multiple people looking at multiple angles at the same time. You got multiple people focused on finding the individual. There are simultaneous missions happening now. They're trained. They know where to look. Ted Williams said they're looking at video feeds to backtrace where this guy came from. And remember, they backtraced Koberger, man. It took a while, but they got that guy. Eventually, Duffy said they'll have video of this guy unmasked, and then with their powers, they'll be able to backtrace that. They'll just look at all the MVD photos. If he ever had a driver's license photo taken, they'll find him. Another facet of the investigation will take place in Thompson's home. Back in Minnesota, they're going to fly back to his place. starting with the inner circle. This is a whodunit murder on a public block and is in one of the largest cities in the world. But if you run on the premise that it's targeted, don't have to worry about all your common thief robbers on the streets. What's the family situation look like? Maybe make a small circle, quickly exclude them as suspects, and then start looking into it. People have been saying, what about the wife? It's always the significant other, from whom the CEO was living separately. Uh-oh. I want to know what the communication looks like, what form. Lots of people get a lot of threats in this position. The forensic evidence from the scene could also play a crucial role. If the case goes a period of time without a conclusion, the genealogical DNA profile could be established to try to find the assassin through any kin who've used any DNA ancestry services, which were just gobbling up your DNA for the CIA. So that is happening. Now, what the response has been from these health insurance companies has been very curious. All right. This was something that we commented on yesterday. As soon as the elimination took place, we were looking for the bio of that CEO, and somebody sent me a copy of it. Thank you for that. It was very nice of you to do that because I could not find it, but somebody found it in the Wayback Machine and sent me a copy. And it was very bland. It was very benign, nothing very exciting on there. But what was curious and what I didn't think to do was to check the other leaders on the healthcare website. Like, did they take all the leaders down? And I think the answer is maybe, yeah, maybe they did. Now, I don't know if they took Thompson's down immediately and then pulled everybody else's. But this person, Gaslighter, says they've all removed their leadership teams from their websites. All right. So CareSource, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Medica, CVS, Molina, they've all removed their leadership from their website. So ksource.com. Tell us about your heroic leadership team. Deleted. No thanks. We don't want to talk about them. Here's another one. Medica. Sorry for the inconvenience. Our story. Leadership. Deleted. Not there. You got this one. Molina, access denied. What he wants. There are pictures on there anymore in case this is something much bigger. And now Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is reversing itself. We saw that they were going to have an anesthesia cap that was going to say, your surgery better get done quickly. If you're lying there on the table and your clock runs out, no more surgery for you. So you just wake right up. If they're in the middle of your open heart surgery, just hang on. All right. It's going to be a little while. Might hurt. Might be a little freaky, but just hang tight. Now they're going to reverse that. They're calling off the surgery anesthesia cap. They're like, oh my gosh, we don't want to get shot in the middle of the street. A major health insurance company is now backing off. Why it matters. They said recently, we're not going to pay for anesthesia care if it goes beyond the time limit. Sorry. The decision was in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri. And honestly, I would bet there's probably a good reason for it. Like, I bet these anesthesiologists are like, just take your time, doc. Yeah, no rush. I bill by the hour, man. Racking up like these 10,000 an hour surgeries or whatever. I'm sure they're like, these doctors are ripping us off. And so it's a battle. Obviously, our healthcare system is an absolute disaster. And I do not like anything that anybody who is officially in a position of healthcare power has done for us in my whole life. They've been a terrible steward of public health. But here's a friction point. The decision was controversial. Now they're reversing. They said, after hearing from people across the state about this concerning policy, my office reached out, and I'm pleased to share, we're no longer going to have that in effect here in Connecticut. Yeah, they're not going to implement that, I'm sure, because of people on X, I'm sure. The fact that the public scorn towards insurance executives could turn into violence is a startling reflection of how social media outrage can translate into real-world consequences. Yeah, I could never have thought at the time that I needed security. Does this give other people permission to do this? It's terrifying. Yeah, that's the thing. You hear copycat concerns that pop up all the time anytime you have anything like this. So, yeah, there is concern about that. And we will never condone public eliminations on the street. That is insane. But the insurance companies at the same time, I think, are not immune from what they've done to the American people and to our population over the last epoch of time, including this last COVID time. So there will be a lot of pressure. Now, the people, again, like Taylor Lorenz, who were saying that us being upset with healthcare professionals that somehow justifies cold-blooded murder is insane. That's insane. And she is not a well person. So you can balance the two, right? You can have criticisms of public people without wanting them dead. You're allowed to do that in America. And what I always get concerned about with this stuff is that when bad stuff happens, they then want to censor everybody on this. So like the backlash to this is now you can't criticize healthcare companies because CEOs are ending up dead because people are upset at them. People should be upset with them. Doesn't mean people should shoot them in the middle of the street, but we should be allowed to criticize our healthcare companies. And these people should be accountable for what they've done. And they shouldn't be hiding like cowards and deleting all of their stuff off the internet so that they can continue to operate in obscurity, right? When you are threatening to wake people up in the middle of surgery, that's insane also, all right? It's not okay to shoot people in the middle of the street, but to then cut off people and wake them up in the middle of the surgery because you don't want to pay for it is also insane. We've got a lot of work to do in our healthcare system, but we do hope that we can learn more about this story because obviously there is more here. And what the NYPD is sharing with us is strange because this is clearly not the same person. So were there multiple people involved? Were there decoys? Was this an operation? Is the NYPD changing their story? Are we going to find that some crackhead OD'd somewhere and that was the culprit? And the whole thing's wrapped up nicely and just forget about it? We'll see. But we'll be here continuing to cover it. All right.